Hey guys, so I'm going to show you guys the three main techniques for sampling in Logic Pro. Okay, so we're going to look at slicing, then we're going to look at pitch manipulation, and then we're going to look at time stretching. All right, let's get into it. So I have a Logic session open, and all I've done is I've just created an audio track here. I've got a range of different samples here in this folder, so I am just going to bring in this one here, which is a drum break, and I'm just going to drag it straight into this track here. Okay, I don't need to listen to this track right now, so I just mute it. But what I want to do is I'm going to drag the sample straight down into this part of Logic here, and I am going to drop it into the Quick Sampler Optimized. The Quick Sampler is pretty good at understanding what type of sample you've dropped into it, and it puts it into the right category. So we've got three different categories here. We've got classic, one shot, and then we've got slice mode. So the first technique we're going to look at is slice mode, and basically all it does is it chops up all the sample into different slices so that you can play the different slices with your MIDI keyboard. So in this case, you can click on the samples, you can double click on them to get rid of them. So these ones are just put in automatically based on the sensitivity of the transient. The transients are these waveforms here, so you can see that this is a transient, this is a transient, there's another little one here, and then there's a big one here. In this example, all I'm going to do is put a slice on the biggest transients. So I'm just double clicking on the smaller chops, and I'm just going to leave the big ones with the chops there. And now when I play it, you can see that it's just going to play to the big chops. Okay, cool. So one thing I want to make sure that I do in the slice mode is I don't really want to have more than one slice playing at one time. So if I just play three keys at the same time, it gets really messy. So I don't want that. And what I can do is change the polyphony here. This just means how many slices play at once. I'm going to change it to 1, which means that I can only play one, or only play one at a time. That sounds pretty cool. So I'm going to leave it there. So that's the slice mode when using samples. Okay, the second mode that I like to use is the pitch manipulation mode. So if I go back into my samples, I have a bass sound here. And what I want to do is just drag that straight into Logic again. It's called Dread. Let's bring it over here, and I'm going to put it into Quick Sampler Optimized. Now it's automatically sensed that it is just the one sound sample, so it's decided to put it into the classic mode. So classic modes works where it just uses the one sample. It doesn't slice it up, but what it does is it pitches the sample to different keys on your keyboard. And the reason that you would use this feature is that it plays like a keyboard, or it plays like an instrument, and it's pretty cool. You can get some really creative effects by putting in different sounds. You can use different samples. So if I chose, say, like this sample, that is an 808, and come back into Logic, drag that in. It's very low sounding. but you can keep putting in different sounds like that to get a different effect. Okay, so that's the second technique. That's called pitch manipulation. The third one that I'm going to use is called time stretching. So let's drag in another sample, and I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to put it right at the start of the song or my session. So let's zoom in a little bit so I can get a closer look. So I am just working with these 4 bars here. Now I'm going to put on the metronome so you can hear how out of time this loop is. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to have this drum loop looping in time with these 4 bars here. So if I try to do it this way and I'm trying to drag it out, it's not going to do anything because that's the end of the audio. But if I hold down the Option key, it changes it into what's called stretch mode. And then what I can do is I can stretch it out now. I've got to keep holding Option and then let go. And now you can see that it's been stretched out, and that's now perfectly in time with the 120 BPM of my Logic session. So if I was to change the speed to 140, it's not going to fit. It doesn't automatically change, so I need to go and hold down Option again and bring it back. Okay, so now it should be in time of 140. So that's called time stretching. That's the basic way of using time stretching. And that's the 3 main techniques for sampling. So what you need to do for your assessment is that you need to make sure you use one of these 3 techniques in your short piece. Okay, so I hope that was good and informative. Thank you.